Hey.
Yeah, my stomach, I think that chalk they gave me made my tummy upset.
I bet it did. Okay, I got your pillow.
Well, my esophagus has been acting up a little bit here and there. It's been happening for a couple of years. What happens is it sort of seems like it's closed off at times, not every meal, but, you know, not really sure what brings it on. But, you know, I'm not sure if I'm eating too fast or too much, but it gets mad. The esophagus gets very angry very quickly and generates phlegm. Oh, I don't need anything right now.
You sure? Why don't you take a little sip?
It just bubbles up like a volcano until it comes out. And
It's shocking.
It's shocking.
Actually shocking.
It's very, very dramatic. So the doctor, you know, recommended that we need to go down there with the scope. You know, then they saw that it was real tight, so they wanted to stretch it so the food would go down a little easier. Very routine procedure. And it didn't go as planned.
That was kind of traumatic.
I don't remember much.
I know. You were, like, out.
What happened?
Well, they had told me several hours, right? Because you got sedated and they were gonna do the test, and then I walked downstairs to get coffee and my cell phone rang and they're like, he's out, you can come back. And then the doctor came in and said, there's been a complication. We're concerned that we may have perforated his esophagus. And that's why they rushed the test.
I remember everybody being panicked. I remember that. I remember the panic in the room.
It was a weird vibe. And so I said, okay, what happens now? And they said, we're gonna do a test that will tell us if we perforated the wall. They did the test and you were drinking the stuff and I was watching. They let me stay in there and I could see, I thought, oh God. And so as you drank it, you know, it went down and they did it to like 3 or 4 times. They had you take sips and it didn't show a perforation. But I could tell that the doctor thought that that could have happened. It was honestly, in the end, more of an emotional sort of experience than physical. Once we found out that they did not perforate the esophagus and that we had dodged that bullet, because that could have been very dangerous. So we got through it, but it's definitely opened up a lot of future conversations that we're having about how we would handle health issues for both of us. When she came in and she asked me if I was your proctor that could make that decision for you because you were still so sedated. And that freaked me out. I don't know if I am. So now that we're engaged, we need to get that dialed in. It's scary for anybody who goes in for routine and something happens. It's more scary when you have a little person because the doctors may not be familiar with everything going on. Things can go wrong very quickly. Any kind of anesthesia, there's more risk. Everything just has an extra layer it can be dealt with, but in a crisis situation, it's not easy to just make a quick decision. One other thing that he did say was that you have a lot of damage from acid reflux. They didn't need to measure it because they already can see the damage that it's caused.
So old Matt Rill's gonna die from esophagitis. No.
I don't think so, but gosh, nothing's ever just simple and easy breezy with you. It was like chaos and drama and oh my gosh, I was so scared. But he did say that you should feel better because where it was so tight, you know, he was able to stretch it. Apparently he might have went too far. Luckily he didn't go through and perforate, but it must have got it open. So you shouldn't have, you know, the symptoms. I feel like, you know, with us being engaged and definitely planning to spend the rest of our life together, I'm taking it a little more seriously. Like, I want to be prepared in case something should come up.
So how is it working with the house?
Oh, well, you should know. Of all people who can relate to my shoes, it would be you, Aim. Thank you. I mean, he can't make a decision.
I know, he keeps saying, I can. It's like, yeah, I can.
Right.
I say no.
Right.
But you didn't like it.
Okay,
chocolate croissant. Where'd your thing go?
Right here. Thank you. Oh, my gosh.
Going through a big project of building a house. I've been there. Been there, done that with Matt on the 2 major remodels and other remodels. And I can make a decision, but I'm just not, you know, because when you make a decision in a snap of a moment, oftentimes you have to go back and change it. You have to go back again and again. I mean, who can function in that kind of chaos half the time. It was funny to hear that some things haven't changed.
Did you hear about Matt's health scare?
Well, he mentioned it briefly when we got together before, but
It was like crazy because they're like, okay, we've had a complication, and then I'm trying to absorb all that. And then the lady was like, what if he's not coherent to make the decision to go back under? Because he was on sedation. And that really hit me because I was like, they're like, who is his person in charge? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's me, but I don't, legally, I don't know. We're not married yet.
well, it doesn't matter if you're married or not. He can always designate anyone he wants,
Right, but I didn't know.
you know?
It was scary. It just goes to show that anything can happen at any time. You have to have these preparations in place.
Yeah, you do. And you have to, if something were to go wrong.
I mean, have you and Chris had those like hard conversations?
A little bit.
Because Matt and I mean, he always says, I don't want to linger. That's what his word is. I don't want to linger.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what does that mean?
Listen, I've heard his story so many times.
Oh, yeah.
He's cried wolf so many times. Is that when it actually happens, I'm like, well, it's about time, like, it's like, okay.
You're still here?
I don't really get too shook up, but then there's a part of you, it's like, well, is this it? When I say Matt cried wolf a lot, it's not that something wasn't going on, but just because you stubbed your toe does not mean you're losing your leg. So when that happens so many of the times, it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna come around. You'll be okay, you'll be fine. But I've also known that when we're entering this season of life that we're in now, some of those health scares can become a lot more significant. I don't think he cries wolf as much anymore because it's more real. So are you ready for these later years, taking care of someone who may need
good.
it?
I'm good. Thank
No,
you.
you gotta have
No,
another
I
one.
can't have
yes,
two.
Yes, you do.
No,
I'm having two.
I'm going to have more berries.
No, you have another one and I'll have one. I'm having the other one.
Thank you.
This is lunch. How about that?
Yeah, when you're young, you don't think about being old, which is good. You don't think about,
No, it's something.
And it's like Matt said, we could worry all about me and me being a dwarf, and you could be the one that comes down with breast cancer. Or, I mean, anything can happen. And then I don't think he could take care of me, but he'd do what he does best. He'll hire some.
Yeah.
So you just kind of got to go with each day. We know, but none of us know the future.